tap. Is this thing on? Tap, tap, tap. Okay, I am going to go ahead and assume this thing is now on. Let's give people a minute. I'm sure everyone would just love to learn about the Lich spell feature and all about methods. I just know you all are super duper duper excited. The superest duperest of excitedness. I mean, am I right? Of course I'm right. How can I not be right? Okay, let's get started. So first thing is first, I thought I would go over the nifty Lich built-in spell. It is very nifty. You can do a lot of things with this. You can. Well, let's just start. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, let's say you wanted to cast. You wanted to cast 101 on yourself. 101. You just do 101.cast. The nice thing about this is that it automatically it automatically checks if you're in round time, if you're in cast round time, if you're stunned, whatever. It'll keep going until it actually casts that spell on you. So that's all I have to worry about. That's all I have to do. Spell 101.cast. That's all I need, and it'll make sure it casts that spell before it does anything else. That spell being cast. So let's go on over and see what it does. And look at that. 101's cast. Now, something to keep in mind with let me do this real quick. Something to keep in mind with spell is that it will only cast a spell if you have the resources. Now, it's not just spell. You could also use this. It's just still called spell though for like sigils if you're in Guardians of Sunfist, and that checks for stamina too. So what it does, let's say we're doing 140, that's 40 mana, and you don't have enough mana to cast the spell, it'll just skip this. The first thing it does checks, okay, does this person have enough mana or stamina resources to cast a spell? If yes, then like I said, it'll keep going until it casts it. If not, it just skips it. It just nothing at all. It just skips that. I'll show you. So now we're gonna try to cast 140, and now I'll go ahead and infuse all my mana. See, I'm gonna have infuse 504, and now let's do it. And see, it just says not enough mana and the script exited. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's say if that's fine, you're like, okay, I only want to cast a spell if I have the resources. Well, then that's it. That's all I got to do. Perfect. But let's say you're like, no, I actually want to cast a spell. I'll sit here and wait for mana if I need to cast that spell. Here's what you do then. You do wait until. Remember, we learned about wait untils in the other video. Wait until spell 140 affordable. That is what it looks for to see if you have the resources to cast the spell, the affordable. So now it's going to wait until spell 140 is affordable, then cast 140. Let's check this out. I'm going to go ahead and bring RK over in the table so he can give us mana so we can see how this works. Fuse the whole 1 mana he has, and now let's do it. See, it's waiting until mana, and then we'll have RK send mana. And then boom, as soon as he got the mana, it casted it. Now let's again, sometimes you want to see why your script is doing nothing. So sometimes most of the time you're expecting your script to do something. If it's not doing something, you're gonna be like, did it crash? Is it stuck in a loop? So what you could do is use an if statement. You can do if spell 140. And remember, if you want to do the not, exclamation mark, not, if spell 140 not affordable, then you do this. Or then you just have the script echo back waiting for mana to cast 140. And there you go. So now if 140 is not affordable, it'll echo waiting for mana, and then it'll wait for the mana. So that way, let's go over here. That way, it knows why you are. It knows why the script is sitting there doing nothing. No, here. Okay. Let's see. See, waiting for mana to cast 140. And we'll just send Dreaven some mana, and then boom, boom, instantly, and then the script is finished. Okay, perfect. So now that's the bare basics of that. Now let's go back and another thing to keep in mind is that this doesn't check to see if you actually know the spell. So sure, if you're using it on a character you know knows 140, for example, well then it's no problem. It'll just cast 140. But if you don't, if you use the same script for multiple characters, it's going to try to cast 140 on a character who doesn't know 140. So what you could do is this: if spell 140 affordable and spell 140 dot known. So that is how you check to see if you actually know the spell 140. And same thing down here. So if 140 not affordable and 140 dot known, remember when you use and, two ampersands here, and it means both conditions have to be true. So even though 140 might not be affordable, you only have 30 mana. So this would be true then in that case. It goes over here, but you don't know 140. So okay, skip all this then. Same thing here. Or well, this should be if, not and. Spell 140 dot cast if spell 140 dot known, and that's only gonna cast 140 if you actually know 140. Okay. See what else can we do? No. Oh, another thing you do. Let's say you only want to cast the spell if the spell's not active, like for example 140, you're like, okay, I only want to cast 140 on myself if I don't already have 140 on myself. The same thing here. You do you do spell 140 not active. See, that checks to see if it's active. So spell 140 not active. So let's see what this does now. And again here spell 140 dot cast if spell 140 known and spell 140 not active. So let's see what this does now. So we're gonna run the script once. It's just cast 140. It cast 140 because not active. Now let's do it again. It doesn't do anything because 140 is already active. So that's a nifty little thing you can do there too. And let's see what else is there. Let's see, affordable, known, active. I think that's pretty much. Oh well, yeah, that's pretty much if you're just casting spells on yourself. Now, if you want to cast a spell at something else, let's say you want to cast spell spell 101 dot cast, like you want to cast it at another person. In this case, RK, you go parentheses, then you put the target. It doesn't have to be a name. It could be a character, an item like on the ground for whatever reason, a critter. Anything in the quotes is basically you're gonna do like when you prep the spell, you prep 101, then you do cast. This is what it does. You do cast, the ending parentheses after that. So if you want to do cast at RK, you do at RK or at whatever. Spell 140, spell 111 dot cast RK. Now this is going to cast spell. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me show you guys all that I was talking about. Wow. Let me go back there. There we go. So yeah, well, in the quotes here, well, in parentheses and then the quotes, that's where you cast at. So what do you want to say? So cast at RK, cast whatever, cast RK. Let's see. This should cast at RK now. Actually, go over this time. There you go. And then you see cast RK. So that's how you can cast at other people. Now, like I said, let's say you want to cast at a critter. Let's go find Viral, for example. I'll show you. We'll actually kill a Viral. We won't buff them up. Oh, boy, I really got to remember to kill. Okay, here we go. Spell 1115. Now we're going to cast 1115 at Virals. If we can find a Viral. Oops. See if you can find a Viral. Nope. Aha! There we go. And see, now it's casting at fire. You see, we're here. It did prep 11:15 cast fire. So that's how you do that. See what loot we got. Nothing. Okay. Oops. Well, let's see all my guys. You guys didn't see that. What we could do now. I'm gonna say. Let's see what's next. I think that's pretty much everything there is to go over for spell. Now let's go to everyone's favorite, methods. Now, method is a method. Let me show you. To start with a method, you just do the def, and you gotta do like the name. Now the something to keep in mind when you do when you define, which what def means, you define it. When you define a method in one script, it'll be used in every other script that you use. So if you give it a simple name, like, I don't know, just attack, for example, define attack, that might be great if you only use your own scripts and you know none of them use definition attack. I mean, maybe, but what if you use other scripts, or you're uploading scripts for other people to use? The definition, such a simple definition name, might overwrite a different definition in a different script. That's why it's nice. It's a good idea to give definite or methods a unique name. Usually, just use the name of the script is usually good enough. Well, put that in the definition name. That is, whenever I test scripts, I just use the script name AAA. So for example, define AAA and then underscore, and then the name of the name of the method. That's usually enough to make it unique, where it's not going to cause any conflicts. So let's do define AAA. We'll call it get ready. There you go. So what you could do, I mean, let's say you want to like make sure your pick is in your sheath, and you never know. We'll do fput get my pick. Fput my pick in my sheath, and then we'll do fput get my rune staff, and then fput stance defensive. So I mean, let's say you want to do that every time. Let's say you want to do that, throughout your script. You don't want to put like 4 different lines like this, 10 different places in your script. That's gonna, it's gonna be a lot to remember. It's gonna make your script all cluttered and longer than it has to be. All you gotta do is just do something like this, and then then all you have to do is call a definition, which is you just put the name of the method. I mean, name of the method, and that will like call all this line of code. So let's show you what I mean. All we're doing, remember, this is just defined this. That's all it's doing. This doesn't do anything by itself. That just defines the method. This is what calls the method. So let's see. This should do all that, what I just said now. See, get my pick, put my pick in my sheath, get my rune staff, stance defensive. Now let's go back. And so you can do other stuff like, so for example, I'll show you what I mean, where it does it every time you call it. Echo, this is after first method call, and then we'll call it again to show you that it's going to do it twice now, because we're calling a method twice. I mean, obviously, when you're making your own script, you wouldn't want to do this with this particular method, because that's pointless. I'm just doing it to show you that it calls this code every time you put the method's name in. And see, it did all that. That's at the first method, then did it all again. So that's very nifty if you want to just you want to do the exact same block of code numerous times throughout a script. You could do something like a method. Now, also keep in mind, when you call the method, that's what it's called when you want to run this code here from this method. It's called calling the method. So whenever you call the method, make sure it's already defined first. So if you were to put the name of or if you were to call the method before you defined it, see right here, we're calling the method before we defined it. It would, I think it would work this time because we've already called it technically. So yeah, see, it's already been called because it's like saved in a sense. It's saved whenever you define it. It's saved until you log out of the game and log back in again. Then it's all reset. I'm not going to log out, but just trust me. If you were to do it this way before you called it first, it wouldn't work. It would just cause an error. So make sure you define it first and then call it. Okay. Now another nifty thing you can do is that you can call parameters into your method. For example, let's say we wanted to cast spells at people. So let's show you what I mean. We'll call this a cast spells. Yeah, something simple. And make sure you end your definitions with the word end. Oh, and then we'll do something like spell number target name. Then we'll do spell number dot cast target name. And we'll do something like this. We'll call it. We'll do like 101 ArtK. Okay. So what this is going to do is that when you call the method, and it's very important when you have two parameters like this, you make sure you feed the method two parameters every time you call the method. But for example, you call the method and you're going to say, okay, this first parameter, when you call the method, it's going to be referred to as spell number in this block of code, which is between the define and the end. That first could be referred to as spell number, and the second parameter is going to be referred to as the target name. So okay, so we're saying, okay, 101 spell number. So spell number will be spell 101. RK target name, spell 101.cast target name. So now it would be RK. So we're going to cast 101 at RK. Now remember, when you're calling a variable and it's just a string, like this is just a string, there's no need to put this in quotes because the string's already in quotes. Let's show you what this means. Let's see what this does now. It should cast 101 at RK. Now I see it casts 101 at RK. So, I mean, let's bring Boxer in here. Oops. So now let's say, okay, well, we want to cast 101 at RK, but we want to cast 107 at Boxer. So now it should cast 101 RK, 107 at Boxer. And there you go, 101 at RK, 107 at Boxer. And you just, you could do like, so that's a nifty little thing you could do to really save a lot of, you don't have to have so many lines of code or this or that. It's like, well, rather than, well, in this particular case, it's not really saving you that much because you just do spell number cast at RK Boxer anyways. But imagine you're doing like a lot. Like for example, to show you, rather than using spell to show you, just for example, if we did not have access to spell, fput inc, then do fput inc spell, and then fput cast at target name. So for example, now I'll show you this also works. Just to show you example what I mean by you don't have to run so much code. And he's also doing, oops, I do inc 101. Well, it's obviously not going to work. Did I do inc, not prep? I meant to do prep. Wow. Okay, prep. I have to go back there now. Okay. So see, prep 101, cast at RK. Prep 107, cast at RK. So that was just to show you, for example, what I mean, that rather than doing this over and over again, or if you had like 10 lines of code you're doing over and over again, rather than doing all that, you just need one line of code to accomplish all that you have in here. It's just one line. That's all you need, one line code, and feed it some variables or whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty gosh darn amazing, if I do say so myself. So again, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video now. We learned a couple things. We're getting to the point where I want to show you more and more complicated things. Soon, in probably the next few days, I'm going to put everything together that we've learned so far show you a really cool script. Well, cool in my opinion. And let's face it, I'm pretty darn awesome. So I know cool. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Peace out.